This time, we will create a number guessing game, which is a simple game to guess the sum of two random numbers with a time limit given for each question. If the time runs out and you haven't answered, the game is over. It's that simple. From the making of this game, we will try to learn how to create functions in Decsoft App Builder using the app.randomNum function, using timers and other functions. Now, let's try making this very simple math game. First, open the Decsoft App Builder program, then create a new application. Using the control inspector from New App 1 in the General section, change the following properties. When completed, save the project with the name Guess Number. After that, we move on to the Form Design View 1. Using the Tools panel, insert input text. Then insert Push button. And insert For label. After that, using the control inspector, change all existing labels to look like this. After the label is complete, now we change text input to look like this. And change Push button to look like this. Now we will continue to the code section, where we will code Show Event Guess Number View 1. Double-click Guess Number View 1, then in the Show Event tab write the following code. Double-click Push Answer button, then in the Click Event tab write the following code. Now, let's compile and test this project. So far, the code has been working properly. Now we will make the answers filled in using a push button that we created. In the same way as in the previous video when we learned how to make a calculator, insert and create push buttons like this. Using the control inspector, change all push button properties that we will use as push number buttons like this. Now let's try compiling and running it to see if it works as expected. We will go to the button code section to handle the number buttons click event. Double-click the button you want to add a click event to, then write the appropriate code for that button, like this. Make sure to follow the steps carefully and in the right order. Now, recompile and run the project to see the changes. So far, the button's click events have been working properly. For the next step, we will simplify the code we have written in several events by turning it into two functions: answer check and answer new. First, click the function manager icon, then create a new function called answer check. Next, in view 1, double-click answer push button, then copy the code from its click event. After that, paste the code into the answer check function we just created. From function manager, create a new function called answer new. Next, in view 1, double-click view 1 designer, then copy the code from its show event. After that, paste the code into the answer new function we just created. Then, delete the code in the click event of the answer push button and replace it with this. After that, delete the code in the show event of view 1 and replace it with this. Now, recompile and run the project to see the changes. So far, the code has been working properly. We are going to add a timer feature for answering questions. Visually, the timer will be shown as a progress bar. For the timing function, we will use a non-visual control called timer. Now, insert a timer control into the view 1 designer. Then insert a progress control. Using the control inspector from progress 1, change the following properties. Using the control inspector from timer 1, change interval to 50. Double-click timer 1 control, then in the tick event tab write the following code. Click the function manager icon and change answer new function code like this. Now, recompile and run the project to see the changes. So far, the code has been working properly. To make things more interesting, we are going to add sound. Open the file manager and choose the 3 sound files we will use. Click the function manager icon and change answer check function code like this. We are going to create a pop-up that says time is over to show when the player runs out of time and the game ends. We will need an image for the pop-up, which we will add using the file manager. Next, in View 1 Designer, double-click Timer 1 Control, then in the Tick Event tab change the following code. Now, recompile and run the project to see the changes. So far, the pop-up time is over have been working properly. Now it's time to add a score feature. But before we do that, let's update a few visual elements. To add the score feature, we are going to add two text labels. One to show the number of correct answers and one for wrong answers. Using the Tools panel, insert 3 label control. After that, using the control inspector, change each label like this. Click the function manager icon and change answer check function code like this. Double-click View 1 Designer, then in the Show Event tab, add the following code. Double-click Timer 1 Control, then in the Tick Event tab, add the following code. Click the function manager icon and change answer new function code like this. Double-click Push button B refresh, then in the Click Event tab, write the following code.